we're live, in effect, driving on the highway. How exciting is it to be alive? Springtime. The first awakening of consciousness. When you first wake up out of your sleep in the morning. In life. In experiences. That is what is going on around us in our environment, of which we are physically made up of. And we pull out wisdom from our experiences here, hopefully. And that is the cycles. And that's how things are lined up here. Relations, how the earth relates to the sun, the moon, the moving planets, the stars, certain heavenly objects and locations have relations to other ones measured in distance and in many other ways. Light and dark. So if there's a planet then that's really what light is likened to life. Is light energy. Is light life? Light has a very, it's in all religious language. And it gets, it says, you're in the light and those people are darkness. That's not healthy. It's the recognition of duality and how things relate to each other. And then we apply those we compare those to other things. So Saturn, the furthest out planet, is associated with things that are far out as the ruler of Aquarius. And why is it rules Aquarius and Capricorn, winter, as the sun is far out and cold is in play. And just as the day, the Latin word for God, Deus, just as the day is likened to God, night to evil. But then we look and we see, and so lots of religious and spirituality teachings, philosophies, use that as our language uses it to associate darkness with ignorance, sleep, unconsciousness. But then in that darkness, we also find, what do we do with sleep? Practice sleep yoga, which is try to be conscious throughout our sleep state. When one starts to try to do that, one will come to realize that we very well maybe have been living in an unconscious state. We think we're conscious. Turns out we're just fucking walking through life as like a zombie. Getting used by other energies and forces and led to and fro. Being a master to them. A slave. I'm a slave to my demons. My ego's desires and passions, just to have a sense of pleasure for a fleeting moment. What part of me is doing that? And then is there a part of me where it's like we have the devil on one shoulder and the angel on the other shoulder. Saturn on one side of the column, Jupiter, the good father, on the other. And we're taught to try to, we want to, in the mystical Gnostic teachings, to transmute the dark in Kabbalistic terms, which is Neoplatonic and Iranian, Babylonian, Egyptian, Nordic, Eastern, it's everywhere, is that in the creation, trying to address the problem of evil. And how could there be a good God that's in charge, all-knowing, with foresight, and all-powerful, with how can there be an existence of what you might call a God? So then we have to unpack every word of that question. What? Is it a what or a who? Is. What does is mean? What does it mean? What is? Bill Clinton did that one being questioned. I'm out of light. Anybody in the... Oh, we got no one watching. It's okay. It's okay. Welcome to the live chat. Thanks for joining us. Please remember to be respectful of fellow viewers in the comment section. Oh, smash that bell, like and subscribe for more deep thoughts. Namely, right now we're talking about the existence of God. So that question, what is there a God who exists, or what is God, or who is the God, like so our definition of God, and most people's definition of God, people's definition of everything pretty much differs through our different perceptions. But we have to agree upon certain things so we can actually talk about them. So we classify things by their likeness and how they relate. Some things can relate, one's to total opposite from the other, but they relate on that axis, on that spectrum, on that pole. Heat. What is heat? That's why how they try to do it in the Catholic Church. They say, what is evil? And they say it's the... Ultimately, that evil doesn't exist. Or they'll say the lackness of God. Well, then, that means that God isn't omniscient everywhere, omnipresent. Yeah, so the problem of evil is an old theological problem. What the Gnostics and some Kabbalists come to the teaching that there is a demiurge, a cacodemon named Yahweh. I believe it's likened to Saturn, sometimes Jupiter. They switch roles. Sometimes even the sun, but not really. And that is responsible for creation. Or a group of heavenly hosts, the planets, the Elohim, the plural gods is what Elohim. I mean, the gods, he and she, both genders, in a masculine plural or a feminine plural. My Hebrew isn't so great, which is Aramaic mostly. Okay, so now, what is the Aquarian's definition of God? Our innermost being, that which is our essence and what is good, and that exists in all of us, no matter how much we have covered that up in sin is sin, sin. The worst is when they try to justify evil for good. A big sect of Sabbatine Frankists coming out of a Kabbalistic tradition that went wrong. Talking about Setianism, which is taking up Saturn and its left-hand path of severity rather than compassion, the right-hand path of Jupiter, Chesed, Chesidem, and they justify doing evil stuff, means harming somebody else, and then doing it ritualistically even, and with the theological purpose. Lost my connection, but we back. And we're back. And so, what Sabbatine Frankism and forms of Setianism and just dark occultism is they justify doing bad stuff by either saying that in some sects of Kabbalistic Judaism that transgressing, there's more power in the dark, in the human's inclination to do bad, that there's more power in that. And so they tap into that power as a source of power. And there's also, you could justify doing bad by saying, you could justify doing bad by, the first one I hope that caught, is that everything is ultimately duality, that evil is an illusion, not real. So you can't do evil because it's not really real. Messed up. Or that you're actually doing it to bring forth the Messiah, because Moshiach, or the end of the world, getting to the next, won't come until everybody's either all saintly or all demonic. So then they work on actively trying to make the whole world dark so that the light will come in. But then there's also this kind of psychoanalytical process where you go dark into the recesses of your subconscious, unconscious, things we're ignorant of, sometimes willfully. And then we we address those things, we sit with them, we accept them, bring love, compassion, healing, and become conscious of them, comprehend them. And that's the transmutation process. It's like sex. It's not, it could be used for harm, often gets people in trouble. But in the same way, there's power there to create life, souls. That's a pretty big power, wouldn't you say? And so that's not suppressing sexual desire and urges, but harnessing it, channeling it. It's life force energy. Purifying it so it's more potent. I bet if somebody jerked off a lot, that their seed won't be as potent and filled with potentiality for life. It's a potion. And that potion is heated up by motion in the ocean. In the aquarium, I know we're the definition of God. Well, I said our innermost being. And that we all gotta make up for. And God is consciousness. What is evil conscious? Oh. What is evil? See, that they try to explain away evil, and then they use that. Or they acknowledge the duality, the scales of justice, and they don't do evil shit. But then they'll have like big philanthropic ventures where they actually do some good, just to level out the scales of ma'at, of judgment. I mean, in a sense, we are our own judge. They talk about the two witnesses. There's two parts of us that stand there at our judgment. And they've recorded all our actions. And we go through a life review. And then we get a chance to experience things and feel other people's pain, suffering, distress that we brought them through. And then at the end of it, you're like, are you happy with that performance? Or do you want to go back and give it another fucking take? Selfish piece of crap. That's a little bit of harsh. Right now the moon's in Virgo. That voice in us can be very overly critical, harsh on one's own self. And then with that comes a control obsession, perfection. And that comes out in unhealthy ways by trying to control others, because one doesn't want to take control of their own life. And we all have these in us, just they work each other out in certain ways. And so ultimately, the way to get to that is to be at service to the soul, the human, the cosmic soul collectively, which is the opposite sign, Virgo. Of Virgo, which is Pisces. The collective unconsciousness is Pisces. The sign before that is the Aquarius, the collective conscious. Doc, the person driving ahead of me going half the speed limit is driving unconsciously. Or he could just be in Virgo moon mode and just worried about everything. Pisces, the opposite, is ain't worried about shit. But it's Pisces. They take on that moon sign so they can have a different moon, and that will, because they're just like mutable water, so they take on the form of the other containers. Astrology, dog. But yeah, the Aquarian, it uses astrology. I don't like to say it believes in astrology because we're not trying to believe shit. We don't want to have faith in shit. That's Piscean age shit. Which can be totally fucking puts you out to ocean without a paddle. Downstream. Pounded with lie after lie, not knowing reality, no sense of reality. Saturn coming into Pisces, where it hasn't been for 28, 30 years. Reality check, bam! 2008 economy. Reality check. Hopefully that was a reality check for people. Oh, these big corporate institutions, banks, money, markets are totally screwing us together with the government. And there was a little explosion of a reaction with the Occupy Wall Street, which faded out pretty quickly. Because ultimately nobody gives a damn who's playing in the Super Bowl and what's the spread is more important to us. And I'm guilty. I am guilty. Pisces is the surrender, and Virgo is the can be the martyr. It's the axis of service. Pisces at service to the cosmic uncollective, the hidden. Well, now we busted out of Pisces, the sun has, into Aries. So it's waking up out of the dream of Pisces. So, but we also have, there's new beginnings. It could be a new beginning in our life. As we look around us and see how it is a new beginning of life. And realizing that the out relates to that which is within. Now recognizing that, now using that to construct, to shape our, what remains is love. When faith and hope disappear, I hate to quote St. Paul, but when they do, love remains. And what they're talking about there is that encounter with knowledge, gnosis, Sophia, and from that wisdom gained through experiential knowledge, which often comes through a life crisis breakdown to see the ultimate reality. And that we may have had our tower built on not just a bad foundation, not a real one. Totally fictional. We're living a whole life based on something totally fictional. But in order for it to be in existence, it still has to reflect the laws of reality. And that's how they do in Masonic initiation rituals. They bring you in and give you this one teaching and build you up on that, and then tell you that was, give you something to break that all down. And then you have a breakdown psychologically, and they build you back up into how they want you to, which is what they do to us through traumatic programming and black fucking magic, dark psychological manipulative stuff they do through our media constantly. And you know what? We also have to ask ourselves, when in our lives are we manipulating others for our own advantage and at their detriment? And now take that Virgo moon of criticality deeper into that. Every time we do something just to feed our own ego's desire, it's at the expense of another, of doing the opposite. Something that's a sacrifice of our own self, Virgo, martyr, for the strengthening of the community, of the whole, of the collective unconscious, the collective dream space that we all spend a good portion of our life in. Well, right now is a time for reaching out of reaching out of the dark and into the light. Because we're in spring. We're not in Pisces anymore. We just had Saturn move into Pisces, so that a part of our psyche, our soul's map, is over into Pisces, but not our conscious one. We better be conscious of more stuff now. Conscious of life. The light is strong right now. The light just gained its victory over darkness. Where in life can we start to feed light to? Energy to? What good things for ourselves and the all can we start putting our energy and activity? Start feeding the angel. Start feeding God. And stop feeding yourself, the devil. We are mostly demonic. I laugh and I cry, but I admit that we are all capable. We look at serial murdership. People who are obsessed with these serial killers and murder stuff, shows, mysteries. That is a psychological effery. But we all have the capability in us to do that. Something fucked up. Now, that relates to, like, is God good or evil? Or are we good or evil? And if we could look in and say, yeah, yes, essentially we are good, then we could say the same thing about God. Essentially, God is good. But in the Bible, it even says, open up your scriptures to the part of the Bible where it says all good and evil come from God. What you gonna do about that passage, Mr. Reverend Durong? God, how they use, right now they're using the Bible in a Christian story of Jesus to totally mind F a bunch of Trump cult followers having the arrest of Trump in the Holy Week around the same time Jesus was arrested, who, a total story, fictional, mapped onto the timing of the year. Of Passover, Ramadan, Easter, all this time of year. Because it's about the seasons. The reason for the seasons. All right, have a good one.